writing, comics. They have been a part of our lives for as long as we can remember. If you've been reading comics for years like me and like Ashley, but have you ever stopped to think about the impact that they have had on the world around us? So we want to dive in. We want to help you discover ourselves. And we want to take a look at the medium of comic books, not from the perspective of the fan, but from the perspective of creating and writing them, and how that completely turned your life and your love of the medium upside down. Because, hello, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And also, I want to introduce you to somebody else on this little live stream show. I want to introduce you to Super Best Friend. That is my comic book series that funded today in less than 9 hours on Kickstarter over at superbestfriendcomic.com. It's a series that I have been trying to create and write for about 4 years now, and now the epic conclusion will go to all of our fans. And we thought, as a celebration of my new comic book series and a celebration of all of you, that this would be a great time to talk about, again, the aspect that not many comic book fans think about. What is it like to actually create comic books? So actually, I want to ask you just right out the gate.
Yeah.
Beyond moments like the awesome super friends that helped us all over at Super Best Friend comic, for you, what has been the most rewarding aspect of creating your own comic books? Because we created several comic books together, and I should have grabbed some of them. I'm sorry.
How dare? How dare you?
I can grab one while you talk.
Maybe. I just want to say first, congratulations to you for funding, and congratulations to everybody who has been a part of that, whether you have backed or you have shared the link, because that's what's so unique about Kickstarter and crowdfunding and internet comics, is that you are a part of the team and the Super Best Friend family. So congratulations to everybody.
Also, get your own spinner rack.
Get your own spinner rack. That was also a Kickstarter project, so that is a crowdfunded project.
So this was the first volume of comic books that Ashley and I co-wrote together. So like from Jupiter Jet, from Science, what has changed your life in terms of writing comic books?
So, I mean, so many things have changed, first of all. It's amazing to be able to, like, walk into any space and be like, I am a professional comic book writer. Like, that never gets old. And it does change the way you're perceived and the kind of doors that open for you. I think that might be a topic that we get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
But for me, it's been the gratification of having these stories told in one of my all-time favorite medium, because as Marshall McLuhan says, the medium is the message. Joseph Illidge, actually, right now on his Twitter account.
Great comic book editor from Milestone Comics, DC Comics. Now he's working for Heavy Metal.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Oh, he's doing some great things.
By the way,
but actual genius.
We should
Joseph
get
Illidge.
him on this.
We should.
We should get him on
this. We should.
Yeah.
He is talking a lot about how comic books are a medium and an art form. They are not a genre. And that is something that has really shifted for me in creating comic books and understanding how to tell stories in comic books. What it's done is having to niche down into such a specific way of storytelling, I think, has made me a better storyteller. And it's made me appreciate other stories and other mediums better. And that's something that you actually taught me when we were developing all the little short anthology stories that we did before Jupiter Jet is don't tell a comic book story if it can be anything else. If it can only be, or if its purest form is a comic book, that is how you should make that story.
Yes, you should be very specific. It's something to think about, is that you should always write for your medium. Yeah. So if you're going to write something that is just two people talking, you should either make it a play or I would not recommend making a movie, but you can, or a television show.
Well, if you have the money, make it a movie.
Ben Percy writes Wolverine, and he wrote some amazing books like The Dark Net. He talked about that he's been writing screenplays this year, or the end of last year, and he talks about writing a screenplay. Okay, I maybe get one budget, maybe 5 people, and it better be set inside, because filming outside is going to cost a lot of money. Comic books, spaceships, wormholes, Adolf Hitler back from the dead, like just anything. I probably could have picked a better reference than that.
Yeah.
Mahatma Gandhi back from the dead.
Also, if you want to do an accurate Ben Percy impersonation, your voice has to be much, much like 3 octaves lower.
Ben, I love you. You've been a guest on our podcast several times. You're great. Ashley, I talk about Wolverine.
That's a pretty good Ben.
It's a very serious book, and he has the voice.
Best voice in comics.
He has the voice for podcasts, basically
for audio drama, and he's written some incredible audio dramas.
He could play Wolverine in audio dramas, so like that is some of the stuff. Here's one of the most rewarding aspects. Of writing comic books, and one way that comic book has changed my life, especially doing Kickstarter comic books like Super Best Friend. It has been meeting and sort of becoming personal with some of the fans of our work. Now, one of the advantages you have when you make a Kickstarter comic book is that you get to see people's addresses. Yeah. And you also get to recognize people's names when they come up several times.
And the levels that they back at.
Yes.
I see you people who always get the cameos. I see you.
Yeah. So, and I want to bring that up because like we definitely want to open this up to questions because we want to start doing more Q&As with you all based on a topic just like this. Maybe get peeled for Tuesdays. And getting to know these people makes them real, and I get to know their tastes, and I get to know things, and I want to shout them out because some of them are in this live stream right now, like Cody Bond, who says "Stay awesome" and "Congrats, Jason."
My fellow Canadian.
I think Cody has. I think I've seen him crowdfund literally every single thing we've done. Jupiter Jet to Super Best Friend, everything.
We met Cody when we were in Toronto too.
Yeah, Tom Trainer. Who I know, Tom, longtime patron, longtime backer, same. He always has the goal of trying to be my first backer and our first backer, and I think he was number 2 today. I'm uncertain about this. Psycho Red is a name that I see all over our Kickstarter. It says, "Woot, so glad to fund the 3rd book. Thank you so much." We have so many great. Jake Hefner is another great supporter that I recognize their name and stuff like that. So that's like a thing. It makes your fans personal. It makes your fans. It makes it feel like you are making comic books for that group.
Well, and I said this at the beginning. Like everyone is on Team Jupiter Jet, Team Super Best Friend, Team Aurora and the Eagle because we've also spent, especially in our Patreon
This segment is sponsored by Super Best Friend.
Especially in our Patreon exclusive Discord, we share a lot of our process there. We share a lot of our development. We ask a lot of questions. And Kickstarter in particular and crowdfunding allows you to serve your audience as best as possible. Like that's so unique. And it allows you to bring more people into the fold and maybe open up for people the idea that they could do that too. We have seen a lot of people who have gotten script reviews or asked advice for us go on to create their own comments. But I would also love to ask you how creating comics, particularly for the internet, how does that change your daily routine or your creative process? What is your process like? We're very serious creators.
It doesn't change my daily life really that much. What it does is what happens when you start writing is you start analyzing everything you read or watch like a writer. Like you start saying to yourself, and you have to be careful because it does take the joy out of it.
You also have to be careful not to suck your own joy out of it because you're jealous that you're not working on Yellowstone or Watchmen or Everything Everywhere
Superman
all at once, and sometimes you have an idea that you think is better and you can't live in that space, but you have to learn the lessons of what those things that you love do successful, right?
Yeah, so it really hasn't changed. I mean, has it changed your daily routine? Like, are you doing more yoga because you write comic books? I'm
doing more yoga because I'm old, and I can't touch my toes. I've never been able to touch my toes. I was gonna say, it hasn't changed your life. I've seen you, your daily routine. I've seen you these last 30 days.
Well, that's different. You should probably elaborate what you mean by that.
Every time, here's the interesting thing about running a Kickstarter is it's a full-time job. It is, you become a master of marketing. You become a producer in a really, you're not just the writer, just the artist, just the colorist on it.
Yep.
And Jason in particular, Jason goes really hard in the 30 days that lead up to a Kickstarter campaign, which is some of the reasons why the campaign looks as incredible as it does and is as successful as it is.
Ashley can tell you that, like, so I launched the Kickstarter campaign today for Super Best Friend 3 at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I have basically, except for like an hour and a half that we kind of took a break and took a walk.
Yes, yeah.
I have basically been in here and doing something related to updates, tweets, changing rewards, all kinds of stuff to, like, because I was trying to push us past the 24-hour goal, and I'm so happy that it pushed back so that's been a thing.
Do you have a daily practice or do you have a daily routine? Because people always want to know, like, are you Ian Fleming? Do you sit down and write until you hit 2,000 words? Like, what is your writing process
I
like?
wish I could, but because we do so many different things, like we do videos and we do podcasts and we do Kickstarters
and then television.
And then I do television with CBS, I can't always say that the morning is this. I can't. It's impossible because different priorities. I literally just usually wake up. I usually will schedule everything I need to do. It's always more than I can handle in that day. Yes. Every single time.
Yes.
And I try to make sure, like, especially like when it comes to writing, that like I at least think about it. I always say that if you write one sentence, you won.
Yes. Yeah.
And even if that's all the writing you do, you made your brain.
You did a rep.
You did a rep, and that's all that matters. That is more important than writing 5 pages, because you're never gonna, like, I tried that for a long time where I was like, oh, I gotta write 5 pages a day, and you kill yourself.
I would describe you as a mood writer, and I describe myself as a garbage writer.
Okay.
And what I mean
what does that mean? Explain those terms.
What I mean by that is, when you write, you want to get into flow space. Like, you love flow space, and to get there, you need like a candle and lighting and a snack and
I'm not that picky.
And the right music. Like, but you want to make it a full sensory experience, which is something that, like, when I'm stuck on something, I will do a little ritual to invite creativity into my life. I learned this from my favorite.
I'm doing this back and forth, everybody, because I can't see the countdown timer. The camera is like right here in front of the screen where that is.
We're just
so that's for you. That's why I'm like I'm acting like I'm on a boat.
But like I learned this ritual from like my favorite app, Insight Timer, to like invite creativity to me if I'm not feeling creative. But I call myself a garbage writer because I am much more like, I will write the first draft, and if it's bad, like, I can live with it just to have it done. Like when we would collaborate on Science and Jupiter Jet, and we would trade drafts. My first drafts were garbage drafts, and I would just send them to you, and you would send me your first drafts were quite polished by comparison.
So here is my actual like full writing process. I write the first draft in my head.
Yeah.
And then I get really mad that I actually haven't put anything on paper. So then I just start Google Docs, and I have pages and pages of Google Docs. I think it's just me like writing down, oh, what about this scene? What about this scene?
Yeah.
What about this scene? What about this scene? Then eventually I get like 10 to 20 Google Docs, and I'm so lost that I'm like, I don't know which of these is the right one. So what I do is I make a long list, a bullet point list of combining everything from every doc, sort of in story order, and then from that, I write the first draft, or the actual written draft,
which is like 2 or 3 drafts deep in the creative process.
By that time, it's like scripting. That's like draft 3.
No, I'll put my first thoughts into the script and be like, "This is the first draft. It's all fine."
No, scripting is
just why yours are better than mine.
Scripting is so. That's very kind.
It's true. Yeah. Look, I'm not saying that to take away, but like that is just just true.
No, my like. Scripting is so hard.
It is. It's the worst part.
That the last thing I want to do when I'm scripting is actually script something that I write and go, well, that's crap.
Well, it's trite and it's a truism, but like writing something sucks. Having written something is
awesome.
It's like one of the best feelings in the whole world.
It's awesome.
It's creative fulfillment.
We have some great questions here, which is really great. Let's talk right into them. I want to bring up some of the questions from the people in the chat that joined here. Andrew Thomas says, hello, everyone. Hello. Tom Trainer also said, I remember the first time Ashley recognized my actual name on Instagram, and I felt so special to be part of the community. Well, you're welcome. You've made it special. Shay Martin says, what advice would you give to an inspiring writer looking to find someone to collaborate with? I'm working on a superhero universe and would love to make it a reality. Well, it really depends on what collaborator you're looking for. Finding a writer is going to be very difficult because, one, you don't know whether you're actually going to be able to write well with somebody else. The advantage that Ashley and I had on Jupiter Jet was that I am very much a big picture writer. I am an A to B to C. Like
I am not.
If you tell me what scene A is, where your character starts, and you tell me what the ending is, I can tell you what B is almost every time. Ashley is very good at little like very quick moments. Like she's very good at like the perfect line to end a scene or the perfect way for the character to find an escape.
My fondest moment is the parachute dress in Jupiter Jet Volume 1. Was that as the solution? I don't know what issue that's in, so I don't know.
It's in issue 1, so we don't have it. It's in issue 1, so we don't have it. So, but yes, that was the thing where we had the character. We had to get the character off the top of the building.
Yeah, and not kill her.
And so, the only thing we had was they survive in a really interesting way.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It's like, I don't know. I had no idea. And I think you were the one that was like, what if her dress was a parachute?
Yeah.
And so we designed this whole idea that like her little brother had sewn a parachute into her dress while she slept.
And so a few panels earlier, she had to say like, my dress is heavy. But to go back to the collaboration thing, I'm assuming you're a writer if you're asking this question. If what you mean by collaborators is like your creative team, artists, colorists, inkers, letterers, things like that, social media is like your best friend. Jason and I have met 98% of our collaborators through social media.
I found George Kambadias, the artist of the first 2 issues, on Twitter.
Because he was looking for work.
I found the artist of issue 3, Jordi Perez, who's brilliant, does Boom. I found him on Twitter. I found
Ali Von Bon, who's the colorist on this issue.
Yep.
For Aurora initially. I put out a tweet that was like, who are colorists looking for work? Send me your samples.
I found Sarah Lover, who did this variant cover. I've been a fan of hers, and I literally just emailed her and said, how much do you charge for a cover? So I would say, ask people. If they tell you no, then
no big deal.
That's where you're already out. You're already at no.
Yeah.
So like, try to get to yes.
Just send it's the same thing if you're reaching out for like a podcast guest. Just send a nice, short, crisp, professional email. Or honestly, like go to Twitter, go to Instagram and ask for suggestions because there are other people in all fields who are breaking in and trying to break in who want to work with you.
Speaking of other people, here's a great person I recognize this name who's supported several of our projects.
Enemy of Doctor Strange.
Ramon Fernandez Ayrezargoitia. I said it wrong, Ramon. I'm sorry. I apologize. Hey guys.
We love to say your name.
Extremely late to the live, but extremely happy the Kickstarter is going so well. Well, thank you so much. If you are tuning in right now, remember Super Best Friend 3 is at superbestfriendcomic.com. I don't know if this works in videos, but I made a handy dandy QR code.
Yeah.
So maybe that works on your cell phones. Maybe it doesn't. It'll take you right to the campaign. We're going till February 24th. We funded the day, so you're going to get the book. It's a pre-order. And
you also won't be charged until February 24th.
There you go.
Your card is not charged until the campaign ends.
A 3-issue miniseries that I've been dreaming about since 2019, and it's about friendship and love and superhero fandom, and go check it out. Ramon is great. Let's see. I had a great question here. Tom Trainer had a great question here. Tom Trainer says, how does writing on Kickstarter comic differ from other publishing? It definitely seems more writer-owned and the artist is hired for work, but is that the case? Okay, so... Tom, it's different because you are your own boss.
Yeah.
I made the final issue of Super Best Friend 6 pages longer. Why did I do that? Because I could.
Yeah.
If you were working at a publisher, they would be like, no, 22 pages. But I was writing the issue, and I really... I knew I've known what the last scene was going to be since the very beginning. And I was like, I need more pages to make this work. And I was like, all right, this one's oversized. So the final issue of that one is actually 48 story pages. I think for the artists, it depends. I would say actually,
Depends on the project entirely.
yeah, because I know that White Ash, and I know Connor Hughes, who is the artist of that.
My variant artist cover on Aurora.
And Connor's a great artist. He's
Amazing.
really fantastic. And White Ash is a great book. Go check it out by Charlie Stickney.
King of Kickstarter comics.
He is the king of Kickstarter comics. And Connor, I know, has an equal piece of the pie.
Yeah.
For most creator-owned books, the artists do. I would say at the publisher side, it's work for hire. Now, for mine, it is work for hire, and for mine, it's just because I had the idea and I had the campaigns before I brought any of the artists on.
Before you had a collaborator.
Yeah, like
exactly.
now I would love to. I have talked to a couple of artists about like starting from the ground up. The problem is that all the artists that I want to work with always get scooped up by DC and Marvel.
Yeah.
So
Nick, Travis.
well, I'll say this again, like the artist of my first issue, George, who is not this gentleman right here. I'm trying to find the main cover here. Bear with me, everybody, as we scroll through some awesome art.
Scroll.
Here, this is George. He drew the first 2 issues.
Yeah.
And
booked and blessed.
Great. I'm so happy for him. And George got scooped up by Gargoyles and got scooped up by DC. So he, of course, couldn't do the 3rd issue. And luckily enough, I was maybe able to find the amazing Jordi Perez, who I think is astounding and will also probably blow up next year. And you know what? Happy for him. We're actually working on something else for an anthology that's going to come out this summer. But, so for my instances, it just made more sense to do a work for hire.
You're also not held to the same deadlines when you are in charge. Like when I was writing for Top Cow, it was like, this is the final draft. So if that's 1 draft or 6 drafts or whatever, like that's the date it goes to print. So it must be done by that point. Also, with Kickstarter or independent comics, you get more approvals because if you are the person originating the project, you're like the executive producer on the project, the buck stops with you versus the buck stopping with somebody further up the quote unquote corporate food chain than you. It's just more freedom, honestly.
Yeah. Jake Hefner has a great question. Do you ever get nerves with crowdfunding since it's not always guaranteed your project will fund? How do you handle it? Every single time.
Should have seen Jason yesterday.
Last night, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. But I've done this enough.
I mean, we're fortunate to have like 10 successful crowdfunding campaigns between us?
7.
Between us?
Well, if you count the same ones double, yeah.
Well, I'm counting Aurora.
I mean, do you want to go through
anyway, it doesn't matter.
Do we have to go through the line here and like dead stop the live stream?
Several Kickstarters that have funded.
So you're going to be nervous every time. But if the thing I always say to people, and the biggest mistake I see in Kickstarter is that everybody for their first Kickstarter chooses a number that's way too high.
Yeah.
Choose a number that's low that you know you can hit because Kickstarter is like a snowball and an avalanche. Once you get the first one, it picks up steam and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You grow your audience, you grow. It would be like imagine you were a person making clothes and Walmart said, okay, we'll give you 1 rack. You get 1 rack to display your clothes. So you drop your clothes in the middle of a Walmart or Target.
Yeah.
You might get a random person to pick up your shirt or to pick up your pants. But most people are probably not going to buy your item because they don't know who you are. So if you don't establish like who you are or have a little bit of an audience going into crowdfunding, then don't even bother. You have to build your audience. I mean, it was the big reason why we did YouTube videos, the big reason why we did the podcast, because we wanted to gain an audience and then go to Kickstarter and then go to other things like that.
A mistake that I see a lot of first-time creators make is they want to be paid to write the book. So they want to create the graphic novel single issue prose book, and then they want the $40,000 a year that they would make on top of it to take the time off from their job to write it. And you simply cannot do that if this is your first IPO, if this is your first initial public offering. Jason and I choose the numbers very specifically. You have such a great resource now because Kickstarter's been around for so long.
You can look at other campaigns.
You can look at other campaigns and copy what they do right.
Similar books, similar genres, similar art styles.
Like, for example, if you're looking at White Ash, don't look at White Ash now. Look at the first White Ash. Look at the second White Ash and see how it was built from that point. Look at the first Super Best Friend and see how it's changed since then and see what's useful to you. Like, there are, crowdfunding has so many great resources now, but the nerves never go away because you care. Well, because it's your baby.
It's the same. I have heard musicians, I have heard directors also say the same thing. They're like, every time a movie opens or every time an album drops, I am nervous. It's because you never know. It's a gamble every time, but that's also what's exciting about it.
That is exactly what's exciting about it.
So,
just scanning comments.
Genetic Memory Farms, or is it Farms?
Farms.
I didn't know if it was Farms or Forms. My apology is that this is a silly question. No such thing.
No.
But how similar is writing a comic to writing something like a screenplay? How does it differ? You are so generous to Do It Live. Thank you for all you make. Well, we talked about the production budgets. In a comic book, your budget is what can your artist draw?
Yeah.
On a screenplay, it's what can you afford? So again, crowd scenes are more expensive than scenes with two people. Interior scenes are cheaper than exterior scenes because you can build a set.
Day scenes are cheaper than night scenes.
Day scenes are cheaper than night scenes. Showing a spaceship in a movie is very expensive because of CGI. It's not expensive in a comic book.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's format.
From a formatting perspective, so here's the thing about comics. Comics are kind of great. Playwriting is very similar to this. They don't have a rigid structure. Steens, who's an incredible creator who's been all over Kickstarter, created a universal comic script that they put out there for people to use as a reference. But I would say in terms of structure and the way you're going to lay out a description versus dialogue, a screenplay is probably the closest thing to a comic book. But it's not a one-to-one. But if you're familiar with screenwriting as a structure, it's a good place to start.
Sure.
You can also find lots of scripts online. You can email Jason and I, and we will happily send you a script to learn how to write comics. You can find a lot of samples online that you can base your structure on, but they're also going to change artist to artist. We've had some artists that we've really had to handhold and describe every single thing in a room.
Alan Moore style.
Every single thing in the background.
And if you know what I'm talking about, if you seen, go Google the script to Alan Moore's Watchmen. You will see he has a page-long, full, single-spaced page for one panel.
Yeah. I think that's a little overkill, but and just because an artist need that, by the way, that's not a drag on the artist. Just that's how people process things. And then you have some artists, like the way that I work with Emmanuelle is actually, it's not quite Tom King, Mitch Garrett's level, but I give her a lot of freedom because I trust her and she makes really bold choices and blows me away. That will change too, and sometimes you'll put in extra notes for a colorist or a letterer, but unfortunately, it's going to be a blow-by-blow basis for comment formatting a little bit.
I'm going to bring in, because I noticed this comment, and I hope she's still here. I'm bringing a special guest, Kate Allred.
Hey!
This is my super best sister. This is
who's in Super Best Friend.
Who is in Super Best Friend issue 2, actually. She says, congratulations on getting funded today. Thank you, Katie. How do you stay motivated to finish a project after starting? The thing is that the only person that is ever going to make sure you finish that project is you. There's nobody else. I've been told that a billion times, but it's 100% true. When you listen to motivation coaches, one of the most interesting things they say is they're the only person that gives a damn about you is you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I care for friends, but at the end of the day, I have this. If I have a dream of writing a novel, the only person that's gonna make it happen is me.
Yeah.
Ashley cares for me a lot. She's a wonderful co-host, a great creative partner, but I don't think Ashley is personally invested in making sure that I write my fiction novel this year. Not really.
I hope you do.
She would love to see it.
I'm not doing it for
She would love to see it, but she's not going to hold my hand and get me there. So I have to do it. And so in that, you have to design systems for yourself. And it's not habits, it's systems.
Yeah.
You have to design systems that allow you to do it. And like I said a little bit earlier in the stream, for me, when I'm writing, and especially during this, Kickstarter was eating up all my time. Yeah. I was okay, if I write one sentence today, it's a win. And then I have a dry erase calendar that's beside my desk, and I make a mark on it every time I write that one sentence, because that means that I gave myself that one day, because every step is a step towards the goal. It doesn't matter how far away the goal is. Every step is a step towards the goal, and 90% of people never take the step. Never do the step. You're like, I can't tell you how many people I have met in my life that are like, yeah, excuse me. I can, sorry, exciting day. I can write a movie screenplay, but how many of them actually do it?
Well, because you all can, right?
I'm gonna take a sip of water. Excuse me.
It's a healthy fear of failure, for one.
Woo! Hopefully, I don't die on the day Super Best Friend
I hope
funds.
not. But I think you talking about systems is good. But I also think it's and you talked about this on the reel that you posted not that long before we started doing this live. You got to celebrate your wins.
Yeah.
And your wins might be finishing a garbage first draft. It might be hiring an artist. It might be sending something for production.
Fun fact.
It might be funding a campaign.
Fun fact. Ashley and I are going out for dinner after this because that's how we're going to celebrate the win. And we try to do that every time one of us has like a big thing. We're like, you know what, tonight you're going out for dinner, and whoever's thing it is, you get to choose.
Yep.
I haven't chosen yet. We'll figure it out after. We'll do some Googling after. I have no clue.
But particularly
something with a lot of salt. I know that's bad for me, but I don't care. I'm celebrating.
Particularly in creative fields, people aren't always going to give you flowers, so you have to give yourself flowers too. And you don't have to earn your rest. Just rest. You are worthy of resting. Please hear me on that. Please don't drive yourself into the ground doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, somebody make a gift of that. Do it one more time, Ashley.
I don't know what I did.
You don't have to earn your rest.
You don't have.
We're gonna get this gift
I'm an
clean.
actor. I'm really good at.
Here we go. We clean. We're gonna get this gift clean. All right, you ready?
Yes. You don't have to earn your rest. You're worthy of rest.
I hope that turn gets in there.
Make that a gift.
Thanks for coming by, Kate. It was lovely. I hope that's helpful. Let's see here. Oh, I want to bring up this gentleman from the Philippines who says, "This is a surprise. Currently on the commute to work. It's Wednesday, 11:15 a.m. here."
How's Wednesday?
How is Wednesday?
Day?
Yeah. Have the robots shown up?
Oh, I hope so.
How are the robots?
Actually, I hope not the robots.
Okay. I don't have a question yet, but I might have one before you get off the bus. Well, have a safe bus ride.
Have a safe
Kevin.
commute.
Tom Trainer has a great question here. How much have you guys adjusted your scripts to match your artist's strengths and weaknesses? I think
Most artists are broadly good at most things.
It's interesting because I always say that by the time I get to the final issue, I feel like the artist and I are at a simpatico, and that's where I wish I was on an ongoing series.
Yeah.
But you adjust. I had to adjust between Jordy and George.
Yeah.
Because in between issues, just like a DC or Marvel, I had to switch how I wrote scripts. And not much. I found with George, I would have to put more description in. And I found with Jordy that Jordy liked to just get a sense of the idea of what it was.
Yeah.
And if I told him too much, like if I over-explained what I thought should be in the panel, I found, and again, Jordy also does not speak English as his first language, so that's totally, which is totally fine.
But that can sometimes cause.
Yes, but I think
not strife.
I noticed that's where I would confuse him.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yes. So if I just simply boiled down what I was looking for as simply as possible, got directly to the point, he would get it almost 90% of the way every time.
Well, because here's the trick, right? Nobody's going to read your description except your supporting creative team.
Yep.
So like your prose doesn't have to be fancy. Make it easy. Also, if you're reaching out and soliciting an artist, ask them what they don't like to draw.
I do that every time, but I found like most artists, what most good artists have told me is they're like, I'll draw anything.
Yeah. They will say, or someone once they were like, I don't really want to draw a horse, and I was like, okay, great. I wasn't planning, but sometimes like I've also reached out to artists and they'd be like, oh well, I don't want to draw superheroes, or I don't want to draw in this genre, and I'm like, thank you so much. I will come around to the next time. That's totally fine.
Part of the reason that I got Jordy to be the new the new creator on these, because these are Jordy's pages right here for Super Best Friend 3, and Jordy does an amazing job of doing fights and stuff like that. But Jordy actually said to me that he was like I don't get to draw superheroes a lot. He's like, I draw a lot of like he draws a lot of like spy books and a lot of like he drew Firefly, so it's a sci-fi book. So he said to me, which was very interesting, that he was like, I'm having so much fun with this because he's like, I don't get to draw people in tights punching each other a lot.
Yeah.
And so he was like, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And he's done a stellar. I can tell he's got a good Superman book in it somewhere. And I can tell he's given it to Super Best Friend, which is why the book looks so great. Which is great. Genetic Memory Farm says, thank you so much. I share your work with every comic fan I know.
Thank
thank you so much.
Kevin,
here's Kevin on the bus.
The return.
Says, here's something fun. If Jupiter Jet or Super Best Friend gets adapted in near future, would you like it to be animated or live action? I know my answer, but I'd love to hear your answer.
Jupiter Jet, we've always said animated. If you work for an animation studio and you want to do a short, let us know. We'd love to collaborate. Jason and I want to be the voices of her parents. I think that would be so lovely. But look, if you want to buy any of our properties, we'll let you adapt them however you best see fit with your dollars.
You want to do it with Muppets? Fine.
Honestly, I would love Muppets, Henson Studios, please. What's your answer for Super Best Friend?
I think Super Best Friend's a movie.
Yeah.
I think it's a singular movie, but...
Live action or animated?
Live action.
Oh, and now everyone's going to want casting choices.
I think it's a live action. I'm terrible with casting. I'm not a casting director.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and only because I saw him last night in a really great movie called The Woman King. John Boyega would make an amazing Captain Terrific.
He would make an amazing Captain Terrific, because he has that lightness.
But I do see Captain Terrific as a little bit older. Like, I see him in his 40s.
All right, John, you can buy the rights now.
John,
and we'll make it in 10 years.
Mr. Boyega, have your people call my people, and by my people, call Ashley. And we'll talk.
Yeah.
For Maddie, I don't know, but
Well, Maddie should be like a young kind of up and comer.
Well, okay, so Super Best Friend is very much, it's a singular event.
Yeah.
And I've always heard a great screenwriter that that I worked for a while was called, his name was Joshua Hale Fialkoff, and he always said,
also a great comic book writer.
Yep, he said that TV shows are the first day of the thing, and movies are the last day. And Super Best Friend is really the last day.
Yes.
It's very much the last day of it's the last day of Maddie as he was.
Yes, it's him
and Captain Terrific.
Something beyond the Super Best Friend.
Exactly. It could work as a television show.
Sure, of course it could.
And I've been thinking about, messing around with that, but I really think I would have to reformat quite a bit about it. Jupiter Jet would be such a cartoon so easy.
100%.
Yeah,
I also think both Jupiter Jet and Science, I think would make great worlds and great baseline characters for like TTRPGs. So... Because I think we did really good jobs at making them really unique settings for those stories.
Sebastian Lobo says, so I like to consider myself an artist, and I am in the process of brainstorming my own comic, and I am wondering, would it be better if I just draw it myself, given I have the ability to draw? Short answer, my friend, yes.
One, you don't consider yourself an artist. You are an artist. Please, don't say I'm an aspiring, you are. You
can I say that?
This is what you want to be.
This is my GIF. Ready? Here it is.
Yeah.
Remove aspiring blank from every social media profile you have. You are a writer, you are an artist, you are a filmmaker, you are a director, you are a painter, you are a sculptor. You are not aspiring. If you do it, whether you are paid or not, you are that thing. The difference is you are not a professional, but the minute you get paid, even $1, you're a professional. That is the definition.
I would also say, Sebastian, if you go back in the chat, there was, I want to say her name was Sarah, but I'm sorry I don't remember your name. There was a writer who was looking for a collaborator in the chat here.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you two can get together. But as an artist, you are so lucky. What is it like to be able to draw? If you have a strong idea as an artist, I would say immediately start creating your own work, especially if you're a digital artist, and put that up online so that writers like us can find you and hire you. Even if you're just making like Katana comic style, 4 comics that are a punchline, create your own work immediately, because Instagram is such a great way to get work and to showcase how great you are. Gabriel Piccolo, who's drawing the best-selling DC Kids books, the Beast Boy and Raven books, got hired by DC because he drew Teen Titans fan art for years and years.
I remember
and years
that fan art.
Yeah, I had it as a wallpaper on my phone. Man, if you are an artist, you gotta go for it, my friend. Go for it.
Yeah, it makes it makes the bar to entry much easier.
Much easier, yeah.
Which is really great.
Artists hold all the power in their hands.
I think Mike Goetz said, me, my little sister, both love Jupiter Jet, and you guys keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Silent Severed says, I haven't collected comics in over 20 years. This will be my first comic to start my new collection. Oh, I'm honored. Thank you so much.
It's a good one.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to say something out to the chat before we do our last little spiel. So, revealing here, we're going to make an attempt to start trying some of these every other Tuesday. And try to, do some Q&A sessions based around a theme. This one, of course, is about writing. Of course, we had to celebrate Jupiter Jet and stuff like that. But I want to say that at the end of everything, we want to open it up wide to questions about anything. Questions that we're watching. Questions about anything. Throw into super chat.
We're not watching The Last of Us. Don't ask us about The Last. We just haven't watched it.
Throw any questions in there, and we will happily, start suggesting. I don't see. It says can't post comments to some destinations. Okay, cool. We're mainly only seeing the YouTube comments, so that's probably the best place to come over here and do it. But while we're doing that, I just want to talk about one last thing. Again, we funded today my series, super best friend here, guys, which is what if you live streamed your best friend's secret identity to the entire world? Of course, stars Maddie Moore right there, who is a sidekick best friend to the world's greatest superhero, Captain Terrific. As you can see in his arms, it probably doesn't turn out that well. And he accidentally broadcasts his identity to the entire world. You can find the entire series over at superbestfriendcomic.com for about the next month. It's a 48-page series. You can buy all 3 issues. And here's the great thing of why I'm telling you this now. If you're watching this video and you're still in the first 48 hours, because the book is already funded, every single backer, physical backer and digital backer, will get a 3-inch sticker to celebrate our home run of knocking out of the goal. Because this is a Jason Inman book, and there is a baseball scene in it. So if anything we've said tonight is interesting to you, head on over to Super Best Friend Comic.
We had a baseball scene in Jupiter Jet, too.
Boop, 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 boop. Oh, yeah. Jason Inman likes to use the same things over and over, and also talk about himself in the third person.
I see.
Before we get to your questions, everybody, about literally
whatever you like.
Yeah, literally anything you want. We're opening up the board here to anything: movies, television, comic books, whatever. This is how every one of these are going to end now.
You can ask us personal things, but we might not.
We may completely ignore you.
Yeah.
Ashley,
Jason,
tell me one thing from the past week that you have read, listened to, or watched that makes you happy, you really enjoyed.
Oh, I finished reading Spare today, like everyone else in the world. Prince Harry's memoir. I found it very fascinating, very riveting, a good read. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. And now I'm going back to reading Little Women, which I was reading before Spare, and also brought me a lot of joy. So I've read a lot of good books this year. We're only 20-something days into this year. I've read 12 books, and they've all been pretty good. So yeah, but Spare in particular, I had a good time reading it and telling you about it, and you bearing with me telling you
I watched The Crown.
about it.
I'll watch the season of it on The Crown. That's what I'll do.
What is something that you read, played, listened to, engaged with this week that you really love?
So I have started reading Back to the Batcave by Adam West.
Two memoirs from us.
Yeah.
No fiction.
It is the memoir about Adam West filming Batman 66, because we have started rewatching Batman 66 on Freevee. And that show is much better than anybody ever gives it credit. It's so smart,
good.
so well written, so well acted. And if you don't agree, you don't understand the joke. Think about that. And the book is just a fascinating behind the scenes look at Batman 66. And it actually has given me a lot of appreciation for Adam West, of how good of an actor he was.
Adam West, like William Shatner in the original Star Trek, came in with a very strong point of view and a strong choice from the pilot.
Also, fun fact, Adam West was offered James Bond, and he turned it down because he thought that James Bond should be English.
I think that was the right choice.
I agree.
I say that with a lot of love and respect for Adam
agree.
West. Adam West was very handsome. Not James Bond.
All right, so opening up the board, to questions here. I want to bring up Jason Burning, who does some amazing Pop Funko customs. He made Pop Funko customs of us. Hi, Ashley and Jason. Good to see you all. And he said, and I concur, as a dude that just did it 8+ years ago and has been paying his bills with his arts, it is just possible to do it.
Yes.
That's right. You start with like, oh, I made $20 this month. Then I make 40. Then I make 50. Again, you just have to determine like, what is the end goal or what is the bar of success to you?
Yeah.
You just can't have it be, I'm gonna be a millionaire.
I'm gonna be Tom Cruise.
What is that? What does that mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything. Kiefer Folsom says, congrats on the new book.
Thank you, my friend from Twitter.
Silence Severed says, when does the 4-part GHL about the Age of Apocalypse come out?
No, that's Attack on Titan for sure.
Is it Attack on
AOA
Titan?
is 100% Attack on.
I think it's Age of Apocalypse.
No, it's Attack on Titan. And I will tell you, I pitched it in our schedule for this year. Jason just hasn't got there yet.
We're not doing it.
You would, I think you would actually like it.
We're not doing
Attack on Titan.
Well, if
Big dumb monsters, give them to my
if you've
eyes.
listened this long, you hopefully you know that we do a podcast called Geek History Lessons on Apple and Spotify. It comes out every single week. Go listen to it.
447 episodes.
Unfortunately, our anime episodes do not do well.
They do not do well.
So we're not going to do it. If people listen to them, we would do them, but they don't. So there you go. I'm just gonna
immolate.
No, Emily, I was the comments just changed. I was gonna go to this comment because Ramon says that sticker is fire, and he is absolutely right. Look at that.
All right, Captain River's a good-looking dude.
Look at that. Look at that.
He's a handsome
sticker.
man.
Bam! You can feel the pitch. I know I said bam, but you like, whew, there it is.
Is that what a baseball sounds like?
Yep. For the love of the game. Yeah, there's a baseball on my desk.
Yeah.
That makes sense,
Very
doesn't it?
Cisco-esque of you.
Mark Smith says, how did you feel about Parable of the Sower, Ashley? And I say, I've read it too, Mark.
Jason read it after me, but read Parable of the Talents before me. Parable of the Sower is like the greatest book I've read, like maybe in my entire life. It's so good. If you want to be depressed about the world, read Parable of the Sower. Someone told me that Octavia E. Butler was a spiritual prophet who was like sent down to this earth for us. And I mean, I'm pretty convinced Parable of the Sower, if you haven't read it, is the most intelligent science fiction examination of the modern world. It was written in the 90s, published in the 90s, penned in the 80s. Set in 2024, and it is so close to how things actually happen. And Miss Octavia E. Butler was not alive to see it. If you live in Los Angeles area, pay the money, go to the Huntington Library, see the original handwritten manuscript that they have of it. Reading those two books was life-changing for me in like a huge, huge way. And then follow me on Ashley B. Robinson for more literary days.
I don't know why that lower third is so big, but that's what gets what's happening.
It's important. Yeah, I'm bleeding Twitter followers like everyone else. Please follow me on Twitter.
Tom Trainer says, what's your favorite out-of-print graphic novel in your collection? Well, I'm going to say it's the entirety of the Judd Winnick Green Arrow run, which is completely out of print, apparently. It's amazing.
Nightwing Year 1, I recently learned from Scott Beatty's Twitter, is out of print right now.
Well, I got that hardcover, baby.
So
and I
like,
had that softcover.
Why is Nightwing... And then he was like, I would love to see an omnibus of Robin, Nightwing, and Batgirl Year 1. And I was like, yeah, DC, you're leaving money on the floor.
Yep. Mike Goet says, do you ever get burned out of comics? Yep. Yes. You get burned out on everything.
Yeah, especially when you monetize your hobbies, and that can be a dangerous thing. You have to find your ways, but sometimes back into enjoying them.
Jason Burning said, thoughts on Mark Hamill announcing he will not voice Joker since Kevin is passing. I think it's a very sweet gesture.
I think it is a sweet gesture. I think Mark Hamill's a good dude.
I think he is a good dude too. I told you Silent Severed me at Age of Apocalypse.
Oh no!
Told you. No time soon, I'm sorry to say. Oh my God, Kiefer Folsom says, an Age of Apocalypse Titan crossover. That's very lovely. Kevin, our lovely friend from the Philippines, he's still going to work. He says, woohoo, random question time. Also, traffic's insane, so I'll walk the last 4 kilometers. Whoa.
4 kilometers, like 2.5 miles. It's not too bad.
I know, but it's still a distance.
It is.
You're going to work, bud. You want to go to work rested.
Got to get your cardio in.
If given the chance to write a Kyle Rayner GL story, what story will you tell? Well, okay. So the most difficult, Kyle Rayner is I don't know if you can see. Can you see it? Like right up there, I have 2 Kyle Rayners.
You got a new one today.
The McFarlane one's back there today.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Chuck Hefner, who patron that helped.
Who is here or was here?
Was he? I don't know.
He was.
Doesn't matter.
Said hello to him.
Doesn't matter. It's hard to announce on the internet what kind of stories you want to write with characters. One, because people will steal those ideas if they get hired over me. And two, because I haven't thought about it. And it's one of those things where I'm not going to think about it until I actually get paid to do it. But I can tell you that I would definitely want to do something with Kyle and Jade.
That's wild because I'm like, I would want to do something with Kyle and Stronach now too.
Well, there you go. See, so I hope that
as a satisfactory
answer. Ronan Unchained says, can't make it all the way, but glad to see you two live on Tube. Thank you. Tom Trainer says, both the big two have massive holes in the collection department. How do we not have a Chuck Dixon Batman Omnibuy? Well, we sort of do with a little bit of Night's Fall and Night's End. That's a big Chuck Dixon.
A lot of them have been collected
separately
on their own. Like we have the full Robin, we have the full Birds of Prey. I understand the reticence to print an omnibus. They're hard to read.
Also, how do you... It's funny, I had a friend that used to work at DC Collection. Now he owns a comic book store. His name's Paul Santos, and he owns a comic book store in Infinite Heroes in Connecticut. It's a great store. Go check it out. And he once told me that some of the older, like, 90s, 80s stuff, like, to us, we're like, yeah, just make the Chuck Dixon omnibus. But if we just slam every Chuck Dixon Batman comic book in an omnibus, the stories are going to be all over the place. So, like, what do you... Like, is that a satisfactory reading experience? And I've heard that is one of the things that makes the big two reticent of reprinting stuff.
Yeah, I would say as like a counterexample, the Milestone Omnibus is a really good way to do an omnibus because it's a really condensed set of stories. And it is a complete universe. So by getting the first 12 issues or the first 8 or the first 6 of each storyline, it's a really clean introduction into that entire Dakotaverse, which we're now merging into the DC universe. It's always trickier with Batman, right? Batman is like the big problem of all
Batman's
comics.
always a problem, that guy. All right. We already did Tom Trainer's question here. Freaky Slot says, hello, I've always loved your podcast. Thank you so much. So thank you for all the info, guys. My favorite episode is the Addams Family episode. That's a oldie. Wow.
It's not that old.
It's an oldie.
It's a couple years old.
Kira Fultham asked the important questions here. Ashley, who are we rooting for this season of Drag Race? It's Sasha Colby or Mistress Isabel for me. I'm going to go for Chocolate Thunder.
Kiefer is my good drag race Judy on Twitter. I'm definitely cheering for Mistress. I fear it's going to be one of the twins. I think Sasha will make it to the end, but I don't think they'll give it to her because Sonique just won All-Stars fairly recently, and we all know how that trans bias goes. But I super love Lux because I love all of the like Chicago and Chicago adjacent girls, but I think it's Mistresses to lose at this point. So thank you for Drag Race Corner.
Thank you for having a conversation that means absolutely nothing to me, but I hope you both enjoy it.
We did.
And then we're going to end this stream with the bestest of the best. Jake Hefner here said, still enjoying the live stream, friends.
Yay! Thank you for checking back in.
Well, we've enjoyed you. I want to thank you so much for watching something that we may title in the future the Super Friend Show. We don't know.
How do we feel about that title?
If you enjoyed anything, guys, go check out. You have about 30 days to do it. Super Best Friend issue 1 to 3, the series finale. Somehow Maddie, the superhero sidekick, has to save the day. And him and his best friend, Captain Terrific, are getting in danger. But then they're not in danger. Then they find love. Then they don't find love. And then they end up in a beautiful comic book ending. So go check that out. Lots of super awesome stuff that we have over there on the Kickstarter, including the chance to purchase a Zoom call with me where we can talk about anything. We can talk about writing comic books, podcasts, all kinds of stuff like that, and various things. Ashley, would you like to point them towards any of your social media? I only have your Twitter on here.
That's fine. Yes, guys, gals, non-binary pals. That's my social media handle everywhere. Is at Ashley V. Robinson. Please come and follow me. The V is very important.
You can follow me at Jawin, Jawiin, on Twitter and Instagram, and at Jason Inman Writer on TikTok. And again, but it's more important to go follow me on the superbestfriend.com, comic.com. Go do that. Go make sure you do that. Guys, this has been everyone. I'm sorry I said guys. Everyone. This has been a lovely experience. This, I really feel like we have bonded. I hope you learned a lot about writing. I hope you feel free in the comments to leave us a topic for the next show, the Super Friend Show. It's the same thing. This is what we're going to try to do every other Tuesday night. So keep your eyes peeled for us. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed anything you watched, and go check us out on all the various things. That's enough of the plugs, I think, right? Shut the hell up, Jason. That's what you're saying right now, and it's fine. I will shut the hell up. Ashley, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I know I'm a tough get.
Yeah. Do you have a long limo ride back to your hotel room?
Yeah, very long. The limo is pulled like Frigga by my cat, intern Brago. So it's a very slow and arduous process.
Okay, everybody. Well, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Inman.
I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And be seeing you, Super Friends.
Bye.
See you next time.